Yes, everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Stephen Howson. I'm still rough, in case you've not noticed, but I am feeling a little bit more human today. So we are being able to do a preview for the game. I was in absolute clip on Friday, and the defeat didn't really help me doing it, but I'd already decided I wasn't doing it. I was actually meant to go to London during the day to record a show, which I couldn't get on. I couldn't sit on a train. I couldn't move. Obviously, I was meant to go to the game. I didn't go to the game. And then I was going to try and do a review from home afterwards, and I couldn't. It took all my energy to go and watch Paddock FC on Saturday morning. And I shouldn't have done that either because I spent most of yesterday in clip still. But I do feel human today. So hopefully I might be able to, go and see if I can get to the game tomorrow. We will see. Right then, first things first. Let's have a look at what Burnley are up to at the moment then. So they're bottom of the league. Slap bang, rock bottom. Is this the time that they finally succumb and get relegated? I think it is. I think they're probably done for now this season. They've got 3 draws, 2 losses in their last 5. They've only won 1 league game all season. We obviously beat them 3-1 in the reverse fixture. Sean Dyche and his team, known for a gritty... It's unconventional now, I would say. At one point, it would have been quite conventional English-style kick and chase kind of football, but it's not. The game's moved on and they've stuck to it because it has now become unconventional, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You've got to be able to play against all styles. 4-4-2, low block, and at times it has troubled the best of the teams and the best of managers, but it looks like the gloss has worn off. The quality behind what was making them a force has really been eroded, and now they look like they're going to drop down. And even though they play a real direct, very vertical style of play, they deal with a lot of aerial passes, they look for second balls, they're extremely physical. They've been very strong with that play style as long as their forward players are able to match that and those traits. Losing someone like Chris Wood, they haven't altered their approach, but the quality is not there. They just sort of increased the emphasis on getting the ball up and utilising the pace of Vidra or maybe Cornet with channel balls. They're looking for flick-ons. They've just signed all 6'6" of Weghorst, which means that they've basically tried to clone Chris Wood with a bit of added size. So even though I don't think the quality is quite there for them at the moment, they're still a threat, and they're still something you have to figure out. They're one of the great things I think about English football is that you do have so many different styles of play. The lower you go down in the leagues, the more you're going to see that style replicated. But I like a team like Burnley being in the Premier League for that matter, because I think they can throw a real spanner in the works sometimes. Defensively, they're extremely compact. They sit with 2 banks of 4. One of the forwards sometimes even drops in to make it a midfield 5. Extremely resolute when they're defending, and really not an easy team to break down. You can't go in the air against them because they're there for that all day long. You have to try and beat them with quick interplay, movement off the ball, and because they have zero desire to attack, they can stay extremely rigid, extremely narrow, and make it hard for you to pass through the centre of them. Starting 11-wise, I imagine it's probably going to be Pope, Roberts, Tarkowski, me, Taylor, McNeil, Westwood, Brownhill, Cornet, Weghorst, and Rodriguez. Starman, Maxwell Cornet. Provided a little bit of spark for Burnley going forward this season. He's got 6 and 11, which isn't bad. It certainly isn't bad for the being the worst team in the league. He does have a slight different dynamic to them going forward. He's got some pace about him. And I would say he's probably their most potent attacker, and someone that could actually hurt United if we give him the time and the space to do anything. So that's the one that you've got to watch out for. Stats-wise, data-wise, it's Burnley, man. Like, you kind of know what you're getting with Burnley, don't you? They average 39.8% possession, which is the second worst in the league. They only average a pass success of 68.2, which is by far the worst in the league. That tells you, literally those 2 stats alone, if you find that out about a team and you go, right, I know exactly what to expect. It's long, it's direct, and it's hopeful 50-50s at best that they're looking for. Proper percentage football. They generate the least amount of XG in the entire league. They're putrid and one-dimensional going forward, but they're extremely resolute. They've got their 8th best defence in the league. And not surprisingly, they've played the least amount of ground passes in the league, and it's also by some distance. It's like 1,000 less than the nearest, which is Watford. Only Reguilon has more successful crosses into the penalty area than Dwight McNeil, so that's something that you got to keep an eye on down that left-hand side for us, because that is something that we can tend to struggle with, is crosses coming into the box. So literally watch out for those things. Watch out for Waghorse, because he could be a real nightmare. I'd be interested to see Maguire go up 1-1 against him, and watch out for the crosses coming in, because if it's Tellers or even if it's Shaw, neither of them are excellent, I would say, at stopping the cross. So how do we beat them? Start 11-wise for United then, I'm going to go with De Gea, Dalot, Varane, Maguire and Tellez. I did think about playing Luke Shaw, because I was thinking about maybe I would want a little bit more intricate play in the final third, but Shaw has just looked so far off the pace that I don't think you'd get it out of him. The problem with going with Dalot and Tellez, in my head I'm thinking both of them like to cross the ball. I'm not sure I want to be crossing the ball against these here, but both of them can also play excellent vertical balls in behind the defence for us to chase. So that I do think is an advantage that I would like to try and see. Midfield, McTominay, Bruno and Pogba. I wouldn't play Pogba, in all honesty. I wouldn't. But there's such a lack of options, and he is so good that you kind of got to play him. And I don't necessarily like the balance of this midfield three, but I think it's an extremely attacking team that United are going to go for. McTominay's not a 6. We all know this, right? But Fred's a doubt. Matic is 104 years old. It'll be McTominay, whether we like it or lump it. He does have the energy to cut around the place, and that physicality makes up for a lack of technical ability and positional ability. These are the facts of the game. Forward three, I've ummed and ahed on this, and I've written this a couple of times. I think Sancho or Rashford may miss out, but I'm not sure which one it'll be. I could make the case for, do you know what, Rashford's only really just coming back into some sort of form. Don't kill him. Maybe drip feed him into it a little bit. Alanga's looked sensational. Doesn't deserve to be on the bench as far as I'm concerned. And how you deal with Friday night could be really interesting. It could be a key man management point, this, for Ralph Rangnick. Put him straight back in. Show him that you believe in him. Show him that he deserves to be here. Or take him out of the spotlight and hope that the pressure's not getting too much for him. Obviously, the abuse that he got online is sickening, but it's so predictable that it's there that I can't believe these social networks aren't doing something about it. It's absolutely disgusting. But this is a real point now for Ralph Rangnick. What do you do? Do you put Alanga back in? Do you treat it like, no, do you know what? I'm just going to treat it like Friday didn't happen, and I'm going to focus on purely, it's a lottery, a penalty shootout in many ways. Whoever takes the last penalty, it could have been anybody. Do we look at other ways that we can analyse the play? I don't have enough knowledge or experience of Ralph Rangnick to know what he would do in this situation, but I think it's going to be interesting. If he puts Alanga in, I think that's quite bold, and I like that. I always prefer to see it being bold. If he takes him out, maybe he thinks that the miss has affected him a little bit. And again, I don't really know Alanga enough to know what his personality is going to be like in these situations. Some players will like, just put me back in, I'll deal with it. And some might need a bit of an arm around the shoulder and a bit of a week off maybe. So it is going to be a very interesting time to see what happens with him. But I think one of Rashford or Sancho may miss out on this one. But, every week, every game is a massive 3 points in it for United. Right, in terms of how does this 11 actually shape up and what does it do and why is it going to beat Burnley, you've got to look at the wide areas, because if you're able to stretch them at home, they're weakest defensively at the fullback because it's kind of where they lack pace, and that's something that United are really positive at. I would like to see us replicate that sort of attacking style of performance against a low block with 2 banks of 4. Width and wide overloads are crucial. You have to hold your width. You're looking for your wingers to really stand right out on the touchline, and if it's not the wingers, it needs to be the fullbacks. And in an inverted three that United tend to deploy, it's going to be your fullbacks that are doing it. So you got to push your fullbacks extremely high up. and you almost create a 5 across the front that way, which overloads in some areas. Now, delivering the ball in direct is not the move, is it? So you have to look to try and crisscross patterns. You're looking for third man runs. You're looking for unselfish runs across the face of one defender to draw them, to try and find two of you in one gap. You know, this is where you've got to have constant selfless work from the team, and you got to move the ball quick. You got to move it precise. You got to move it with purpose, and it can be done. It can definitely be done. They've been smacked around, but the defense is good. The defense is good. You've just got to be a little bit more clinical than United have been, certainly were on Friday night. Set pieces. My oh my, has this become a hot topic? So a lot's been said about the set piece issues at United, obviously, but we will need to be on form defensively, at least, against Burnley, because that is their favourite shit. It's almost like getting a penalty for them when they get a set piece. A free kick in the final third, they're just going to look to deliver it in. Sometimes even in our half, they'll just pump it into the box and hope for the best. They are the most threatening, where they look to use any opportunity that they can to get their big stupid giraffes into the box and oof it in. And you've got to be ready for that. You've got to know what's coming. You've got to be ready for that. And we've also got to be ready physicality wise. We have occasionally been found wanting against teams that try and make it a battle. The return of the likes of Pogba. I know a lot of people think of him as soft, but he's massive. Pogba's an absolute unit and he's an athlete of a man. Having him in the team is a positive in these senses, I think. He doesn't necessarily look like he's cutting about the place like Roy Keane with a snarl on his face. But the way he shields the ball and sometimes the way he tackles, I think you'll know about it when you play against Paul Pogba. I think that's a really underrated side to his game that not a lot of people talk about. He's a fucking unit. And I think when he wants to and when he decides he's going to start doing that, he can be a real problem and a real handful. Cristiano could be the same, but he doesn't use it anywhere near enough. We've got to be proactive. We've got to be energetic. This is one of those games where, cliche time, you've got to want it. You've got to go and want it, because you get a goal up against them. They know their attack's so poor that they'll crumble. You get 2 in and you know the 3 points are coming home with you because they're not scoring 3 goals. It can be done. This isn't the hardest team United are going to come up against. They're tricky defensively, but they don't offer a hell of a lot going forward. You got to watch the counters and you got to watch the set pieces. But if you play with the sort of one-touch stuff that I saw us doing against Middlesbrough, I thought was really good, and it looked like it had been worked on. And I think if we play a little bit more of that, but have a little bit more composure in the final third, I think we're going to be fine in this one. But let me know what you think. Give us your predictions and that in the comments below. Cheers for tuning in. I'm going to do a live at 9 o'clock tonight if you want to come and join us, and we can talk about any of the news that's been breaking, anything that doesn't really require a full video of its own, any of the breaking news surrounding what's going on. Maybe even let's have a look at what's going on with Overmars and how that might affect Ten Hag, and does that have any sort of impact on what's potentially going on at United. If you want to come and join those in, it will be a members only stream, so you either need to be a YouTube member or I'll be answering questions from everybody that's on Patreon as well. So come back and join us at 9 o'clock for that if you want. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.